Twin flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast, and today is an episode 99. As we know, the 99 or 999 energy is about a releasing, letting go, purifying, renewal, and releasing the energies that are stuck inside of you. The reason of today's podcast is about that you might have experienced past 2-3 weeks, or let's say the last week and now today, on the solar eclipse that is happening, extreme tiredness. You feel tired, you feel exhausted, you feel like time is standing still. Weird things are happening that normally would not happen, such as, let's say, things get broken, or you have an accident, or your twin is in a complete silence, completely disappeared from this world, or you feel like, I don't understand what is happening. You might feel a body aches, you might feel that you just simply can't get out of the bed and your neck hurts, your back hurts, everything is hurting. If this is what is happening to you at this moment, then I think this podcast episode is for you. Today, on the 2nd of October 2024, we have a solar eclipse. 2 weeks ago, I assume, we had a lunar eclipse. So there is a lot happening at this moment. And it's affecting us, and there is a bigger reason behind it. And even though you might go through right now like very heavy time where you feel energy is heavy, or where you feel like you don't have the energy or the motivation, or just everything you do goes against it, like you're trying to do something and you'll be interrupted, you want to get a new job, you will not get answer. All of these kind of things are like against it. Even for myself, as you know, I lost my Instagram account, which has never happened to me in this lifetime. And all of a sudden, Instagram decided to disable my account. And that happened during the lunar eclipse. And there were a couple of other weird things that happened to me in a technology-wise. As many of you who were on our group session, we're starting a group session, electricity goes out of my house. So I'm just going to say that there is a lot of I'm not calling it as an attack. What I'm saying is a lot of things that normally wouldn't happen are happening, and they are intensified. They're very powerful. And now we will think of, but why is it happening? What's the point of what is happening for me? And what is it beneficial for this twin flame journey of I'm suffering all the time? The suffering doesn't go away. I feel the pain all the time. I feel the sadness all the time. And now you want to tell me that we have, again, I have to go through something. If you look at in a world in a bigger perspective, and you're seeing what is happening in the world as well, we can keep on seeing that during this period of time, a lot of heightened energies are there, and also these heightened energies are bringing in conflicts, so such as wars, or the nature is acting differently, floods, tornadoes, tsunamis. Okay, we haven't had a tsunami right now, but these things can happen, and nature also starts to affect of it. And the reason I talk about this, and often people would say, but this has nothing to do with me. Well, your body holds every single mineral, every single energy, every single chemical of the universe inside of you. So pretty much you can call yourself a universe. Your body holds all of this inside of you. So now, whatever is happening out there through shifts and changes, such as we have solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, or we have a full moon. We know that during the full moon, which is another time where we release, a lot of conflicts are happening. Why? The reason is that we humans, we tend to hold it inside of you for inside of each other, inside of us. And when it starts to pile up, we were releasing it because the magnet is finally bursting it out of you. Of course, here I can say for women a little bit, it's a little different because we are more emotional and sometimes our hormones can do that to us as well, but don't blame them, allow them. And and so we can see that, and there are studies made for it. So it's not something we come up with today about it. So as I said, that it's 99th episode, and we talk about releasing all types of energies and releasing old patterns, old way of living, old way of accepting. We humans don't like change and shift. We just don't like it. We think where we are is good, and as long as it stays good, it's great. And even sometimes we suffer. We suffer in a very negative situation just because it could be worse. Our mind can tell us, well, it can't be much worse. So I'm okay here. But humanity cannot change and shift if we don't have some kind of a force that's going to tell us, well, it's not okay. This is not okay, and we need to change and shift. And so right now, we have a new moon also in Libra, as we know it. So for all the Libra friends of mine out there, happy birthday, lots of love, lots of light. Thank you for trying to bring us the balance. Thank you for being you. But now this solar eclipse and Libra, what they are doing is they are bringing in balance in the relationships, especially in between human relationships. And I'm going to tell you here something. If you're feeling tired, your body is under pressure, and it feels like I cannot no longer. I can't get out of the bed. All I want to do is to lie down. My back hurts, my neck hurts, my head is aching, my stomach feels weird. Obviously, you can leave a comment down below. What are the physical symptoms you're currently experiencing that is happening to you? So now it's just to understand that you are receiving new consciousness information, especially those who did the Lionsgate activation, because you were activated for a new information to come. And when we are receiving new information, our bodies are very sensitive for that, extremely sensitive. So they slow us down because they need more sleep. And so right now you've been download new information. We have this even, and if you look at around astronomically, what is happening? The second moon is arriving. So instead of one moon, we're gonna have two moons. There is a comet, I think I said it right, that hasn't been 80,000 years around us, and now it's here. So those of you, I think you were able to see this in the morning hours, and it's quite bright, and you can see this. And 1 hour before sunrise, I'm definitely going to wake up one morning and see if I have a chance to see it and post it on the new Instagram. Unfortunately, I don't have my old Instagram, and I lost so many of you. So in case you would still like to keep in touch and you would still like to share and come to the Q&A sessions and so on, please make sure to follow. So what is happening in the sense of all of it is that we need to let go of all the old habits, all of the old relationships. And this what brings me to understanding of twin flame situation as well. That your twin flames actually are going through a very hard time as well. And we spoke about this, I've spoken about this on my previous episode, how many twin flames will reunite this year. And what's the reason is that the new energy is coming. And now we're going to be divided a little bit into different worlds. So those who are going to get these downloads, the creative energy, that's why I would say, some of you are coming to the activations on every other Sunday that I do it on Patreon. And it's very, very beneficial for you. And because it's time for you, where your body is able to absorb the information that you need in order to go to the 5D, in order to go to the next consciousness, next timeline. And the timeline shifts are happening at this moment. And it really is going to change the whole world in the sense of some of you. And there was a saying, I don't know, I think I saw this 2 years ago or something, that the world in a sense is going to be divided for a fact that those who's going to go with the consciousness and those who's going to be left behind, but there is no in between really. And so it's time for accepting this information. But now, of course, your bodies are exhausted and you are missing your twin flame and you're feeling like it will never happen to them. It will never ever happen. I just want to say that you need to brace yourself for the October until mid of November. It's a time where we're shifting timelines. And now you'll be wondering, but what is the timeline? What is the difference? What is a timeline? And what I speak a lot about it sometimes is about the reality. We often hear about it, that how your thoughts create your reality, how you create your reality. And you could argue back here about the fact that, well, my thoughts are creating my reality, so why my twin is not back in my life? Well, here I can say two things. One of the things is, what are the things you are thinking? What are the things you're saying? Are you saying that your twin flame is loving you? Are you feeling it? Are you one with that? And do you still believe in separation, or you are in oneness? Reality, I am very obsessed about reality at the moment, as you've heard from my previous podcast, because I'm trying to figure it out. Not figure it out. I don't figure out anything. I'm just curious and seeing how other people are seeing the perspective of reality. So again, if you have any inputs and you have any ideas of the reality, and why I talk about it is that what happens with the timelines, that we have different versions where we can step into with our frequency. Have you ever had a situation in your life where all of a sudden you feel very, very good, and job opportunities are coming, money is coming, a lot of people are interested in you, and it feels like 2 days ago you were in a completely different place, and with the one small shift, all of a sudden you attract everything. So that's pretty much about shifting the timelines. And now, more than ever, is important for you to accept and be in a high frequency energy. There is nothing more powerful than shifting your own vibration into the timeline of the life you wish to have. But let me remind you that we're going to have many timeline shifts on this earth. It's an ongoing process. And this is the time right now where you have to get into of allowing your body to do what it's supposed to do. And when we're releasing, I know we often have an understanding that when we're releasing it, we don't feel anything. Well, the truth is, I think women can obviously feel more about it, of women who have periods, or when we're releasing that, when we have periods or something in the sense of, or even giving birth, we release, and that when we are releasing is a part of the process where there is a pain, where it's discomfort, your body is feeling it. So now if you think about it, that you're releasing that old energy that was stagnant inside of you, especially those who have done quite a lot of energy activations with me or with somebody else. It never has to be me. You are, or if you're meditating more, let's say since before the Lion's Gate, you've been meditating more, or you have been connecting more. And if you have done all of these kind of things, then you're now releasing these old energies. And the problem is when we're releasing the old stagnant energy, it goes with the pain, it goes with the stiffness. It feels like you're so drained, so tired, no new ideas. It feels like a little bit of a stillness. Whatever you're trying to do kind of goes against it. Let's say you have an accident, or like mine, the Instagram is getting disabled, that you, or it's not like the end of the world thing for me, of course, but what I'm just saying is like weird things are happening. And what I would recommend here is the best thing is to really nourish yourself. Think of it a bit of it like a fall. You're preparing yourself for a little bit time of silence, time of letting go of the old. Even though we will think of that when we do the energy activation, that we only receive the new energy and we feel so good, think about it also that you are letting go of the old one. Here is why they are very powerful and they're going to shift you. And so if you are feeling right now these things, I just want to say that it's very okay. And a lot of people who have a higher consciousness, I'm not saying that they're suffering at the moment, but they are, and they're feeling things that they normally would not feel. Even if you do yoga, even if you do breath work, all of these things that normally help your body to release, you feel like there is so much heaviness. And where that heaviness comes from? Well, the heaviness comes from the new energy. So the old one is going out, the new one is coming. I could bring it in as an example that, like a computer maybe, or that when we take out the old, system, and we put out the new system. So it takes a bit of a time. That before it was slower, and now it starts to become faster. So you can expect that mid of November, and now you'll be telling to me that, what? It's gonna last another month and a half? I have to go through that pain? I'm not saying that it's gonna be for all of you, but I'm saying it comes a bit of a here and there. I know that we often think of it that, well, I'm feeling really good right now. I have no problems, and the other one can feel like an absolute disaster. But it can arrive to you a week later or 2 weeks later. It depends on your frequency, it depends on your consciousness, it depends on so many things, and it depends what's going to affect you to get there. Here is why I don't believe on twin flame journey or any spiritual journey that we have one way of getting somewhere, one way that is going to help us, one way. I believe in oneness in everything. Which means the more you try, the more you're allowing yourself to experience, the more you are opening yourself up for a possibility for a change and shift. Even another day, I listened to some podcast about a mental health. There was something, and a young man was saying that, the doctors don't know the chemical balance what I have in order to give me the pills. So they are testing to find what works for me. And so I find this a very similar, that it's not only one thing that's going to work. All of the things that what I have done might not work for some of you, or might work very well for some of you. But it really depends on your frequency, on your consciousness, all of these things, and how ready you are. I think if 10 or 15 years ago, I would have experienced something like this, first of all, I wouldn't have believed. I said another day to one of my beautiful clients that I am that lady now, lady, calling myself a lady, that I would have, my old ego self would have looked at this version of me and said, oh my God, another one. What is she talking about? Another one who is telling us this and that and how to live and how to be. And none of this makes any sense. It's another one. And now I say things that I never thought I would say, and I would never dive into it. But again, it happened to me that it was awakened something inside of me. My soul was awakened. I reconnected with my soul, and there was no way back from there. So this is what is happening, and so we're going to choose our timelines. And here I just want to say something for you. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. I know you feel like, let's say, if you have a work or job or something you need to go for, and you feel so exhausted, I actually really want to encourage you. Try to find days or times where you can sleep, have a nap. You need a lot of sleep right now. Or also meditations, in the sense of you're lying down, you're putting the meditation on. I will create one for the Patreon members who can listen this over a month. That is helping you to release the tension from the body. And coming back to the reality, so we talked about the fact that if we can create our reality, then we should be able to create a reality where the twin flame is in physical 3D world with me. I've been thinking a lot about it and meditating and channeling a lot about this, that okay, we create our own reality, which I truly believe. Our thoughts create our reality, our frequency creates our reality, our consciousness creates our reality. But I also believe that there are steps. And twin flame concept or twin flame energy is beyond that we don't understand today. There are many things in this world we still don't understand. And it's even in the physical world. Quantum physics is still in a very early stage. And what I believe in a certain ways, because twin flame relationship, twin flame connection is not like a regular relationship, believe me. If it would have been a regular relationship, you would have met on the first day, you would have started dating, you would have gradually get to know each other, started to feel love, started to feel the connection, and slowly stay together. Well, with twin flames, it's a complete opposite. You have an intense soul recognition from the first moment. Or it can come a little later, in that sense that if your soul is not yet there, it can happen a little later, but normally it happens on that instant moment. And then you feel home, you feel the energy, you feel things you never felt before, and then they disappear. Like it was never there, like it never happened, and it was all in your own head. And so it's not the same thing. And the same, I feel, applies to reality. So now, this sounds crazy, but just open your eyes, open your hearts, and you can obviously leave a comment and your perspective of it. I am very thankful when you take your time to put your perspective. And it doesn't have to align with me. I've always said it does not have to align with me at all. I just want to know what you feel. I just want to know what you see. Because those people who have gone to the calls with me, and I mean, I've recorded all of your sessions on my journals and I go over of them sometimes. You've given so much depth and so much understanding, especially for the fact when people would say, well, they never come back. And when I look at the people who've been 30, 40 years on this journey, or even 10 years, weirdly enough, they come back. They don't disappear from your life. So that has given me, let's say, so-called ego confidence that no, there is something more deeper in here. And so I want to say a huge thank you for those who are willing to share their story with me, coming to the call, sharing, giving a perspective, and also, of course, maybe getting some help from me. Or some guidance from me, or some relief for me. So talking of the relief, the episode of 99. Relief is very important, releasing. We tend to hold inside of us so many things. And when we're releasing, that's the moment where we can change and shift. So that is the other thing I want to talk about, it that those who have done the energy activations, those who did Lion's Gate, I'm not saying that you had to do it with me. It's just because I know some of you who did with me. I want to say to you that if you feel the pain, that means that now you have reached to the point where the old energy is releasing and you're ready for an absolute shift. So think about the fact that our reality is not fixed. It's not something that is all the time the same. Even if you go back in your life, you can see that your reality has changed. Your friends have changed. Your life has changed. Your health, your friends, all of it has changed. But timeline shift now, and why I talk about this timeline shift. So think about it that you have many options right now. You are on the road where you have 10 ways of going, whichever way you want to go. There are actually hundreds or even more timelines. And it's funny enough that many of these things can happen already in another timeline, but you haven't shifted into that. So the unity in a 3D, if you are wondering of your 3D unity with your twin, might be happening on this other timeline already. And the consciousness can be there and everything. But since you haven't shifted there, it's not happening in here. I know it's a bit complicated. And now you would say to me that, yeah, but sometimes things don't happen. I still, after doing all the digging, and I'm still saying it's from the very beginning what I'm sharing. That's why your insights are very important. We could go into and say, but my twin flame is saying, doesn't love me, doesn't have any connection with me, doesn't feel anything for me, or it's been 5 years and I haven't heard a single word from them, and they're married and they are absolutely happy. Now, of course, make sure that you are on a twin flame journey. And how to make sure is the part of you being in a spiritual path. And with reality, when we shift the timelines, so here is it's a very important part. The more you want, the less you get. Okay? Which happening that you are going in and saying, I want this. This is how it's supposed to be. This is how it's going to be. And it's not going to happen. Because you are in a state of ego. State of selfish. Of I want things to be like this. So you're going to get less. But if you're going to go in a state of I'm ready, I allow, I'm ready for love, I feel the love. And that's why also, let's say, those of you who are on a twin flame journey, why 5D union is more important than 3D. Because you need to feel that in a 5D. And that requires change and shift energetically. Now again, you can argue, but we have free will. If my twin decides I don't want to be with you in this lifetime, I don't have feelings for you, I don't have a time for you, I don't want to be with you, then I can't force. That's true. So if you get an answer from your twin, such as, and it's your twin flame, that listen, I'm not ready for it, I don't want to know you. There are now a couple of things to keep in mind. One of the things is they might have some part of the karma, which I don't like saying, but I'm just going to say the lesson or the person to learn before understanding the connection. Or they might not be ready at this moment. They might be younger. They might not experience yet this awakening because their energy was not there. Or it's a little bit slower. So don't push yourself. Don't go to the point of love me, pick me, I am the best, you know we are twin flames, we need to be together. Twin flames are your spiritual ascension. They can be in a relationship. I never say you cannot. I've seen it in my own group. I receive amazing letters where people are saying, getting married, getting engaged. I've seen it all. So I'm not saying it's not happening. But it's not the first thing. If you go in I want, I need, and I will bring it in. I will bring in a couple um, who would really like to talk about it. That they were twin flames. They were very close to so-called get married, and I don't like. This is another thing. When I said it right now, I have this inside of me where I say like, oh, they were twin flames, so they are the best. They know the best. I don't like putting anything on a better or worse. Twin flame for me is about an experience of so profound that happened to me that I cannot deny that it happened to me, because it literally happened to me. And another thing is how it awakened my soul. And when there is a relationship and how I'm in touch with my twin flame and how we talk and what are, this is very a third party for me. Although I'm going to talk about it because I was recently in Switzerland where this journey began for me. And so I'm going to share about this in the upcoming episodes. So I know I have a couple of Swiss listeners over here, so I just want to say hi to you, that if you think that you are alone there, then you are not. I thought when I first entered into this journey that, oh no, there is no way that someone is going to going through the same thing that I do, until I started to realize that on these calls and people who wrote to me that no, and there are more. And luckily enough, this year on the Cyprus retreat, we're going to have people from Switzerland coming. In the first retreat, we also have people from Switzerland. So I'm just going to say that if you are thinking that you can be completely alone what you are experiencing right now, I'm going to say you're not. You're not at all. But it really feels so deep and isolating, and also scary to share. And there's so much taboo around it that it feels alone. You really feel alone. But now we're coming back to the fact of feeling about my twin flame is not changing. Doesn't care about it. Doesn't have anything to do with spirituality. They don't see, they don't feel. Although in the past week or two, I would say past week or two, especially from the moon eclipse, I've received so many messages on my email where they say, my twin is posting 1111 on social media. My twin is posting about astrology and went for a retreat and is doing the Vipassana and all of these kind of things. And this is the emails I have received in the past 2 weeks. So I just want to say that, there is a good part of this now. As you have done this energetic shift and you're one, it also affects them. They might have been slower, or they might have been in a situation where they don't want to admit it. So they push this out of them as long as they can. And on our last group session, I really liked how one of our beautiful soul came in. And it was funny enough that then 2 days later, I had a call with someone who said the same thing. And I said to her that, wow, it's very common. When we are trying to push out of our mind that this is not real, again, coming back to the reality, this is not real. I'm going to, how do I say, I'm going to block this out of my mind. I'm going to block it out. I'm going to focus on something else, and I'm going to block this part of it out. You can really have a severe amnesia from it. And you can have which means you go on a medicals, and you can have a period of time where you're trying to block this out of you. And I believe many of us have tried to do that because it's so intense. It doesn't make any sense, You're trying to block this out of you, and you're either going to parties, drinking, or you are on the medications that help you to sleep, not to feel. I'm not here in a sense of telling you what to do, but I want to say that do not block it out. Because if you start to block out of you all of what you're feeling, you're going to have a bit of a moment where you don't remember some parts of your life because you are not actually living. You are constantly in a state of surviving, and you don't believe what you're feeling. So you're becoming a little bit like a robot. And the same with twin flames can happen. going to say to you that do not worry so much about them. I know it's our tendency to worry. Energy will win. If it's their time, it's going to be their time of realizing it. And that's why, again, not to push the energy. I like when I was at the training of the Kundalini and we learned about it, that where ego comes in and says, oh, I want this to happen and I want that to happen. Which means we don't actually let the energy to do anything, because we are already putting a limiting idea into what we want. I promise you that your mind is much more limited than your energy. Your mind cannot even grasp upon how big is our universe. Okay, that's one thing, but your mind cannot even grasp upon on many things that are real, or my other question is, what is real? And that brings me to the reality. So the timeline shift can only now happen when there is an inner change. So I'm going to repeat again the same thing. If you have felt enormous body pains, if you feel that you need more sleep, if you have had weird accidents, weird things happening to you, such as, let's say, you're going somewhere and the road that is always open is open there, or you have a car accident. This is another thing. Crazy. I live here in Cyprus now. I've never seen in 24 hours 3 accidents that are identical. What are the possibilities? And they're identical. So I'm just going to say that if there are car accidents, or something happened to you, let's say you broke your leg or you broke your hand. I hope not. I really hope so. But I'm just going to say that things that normally wouldn't happen to you, somehow happening. My life, I lost my Instagram. So the Instagram is in the bio here. Let's reconnect if you're listening to this. And I would make sure I will post there regularly. So, and how do we... So now if there is a timeline shift happens, the old is going to change. And I remember going back 2 years ago when I had gone through the Lion's Gate, where I realized this is real. This experience is real. I met my so-called twin flame. My twin flame activated my soul to the higher possibility. And then everything else started to kind of fall apart. Everything. And nothing made sense to me anymore. Nothing. None of the life I lived made sense to me. It just didn't. So I'm just wondering if you are here and listening to that. I've been there. Nothing made sense. The place I lived, the car I drove, the clothes I wore, the places I went, the people who talked, I could not connect. And everything, like step by step, were removed from me. And then I realized I have to go to Cyprus. I didn't know why. And so eventually in the mid of November, I arrived to Cyprus. And I'm not saying that, but I see the pattern now. And so that's why it helps me to understand what is happening. We have the Lion's Gate that is opening the portal. When we did activation, when you did meditation, when you took part of some kind of an event, you activated your energy to connect with this portal. Now you were given millions of new timelines, millions of new realities that are happening. So now it's again your energy, your inner self that's gonna change. So right now, if you have let go of self-sabotaging this journey, for example, saying, no, this will never happen, my twin is married, or we live in different countries, or we haven't even seen each other for, let's say, 20 years, it will never happen, then what you're doing, you are going to step into a timeline where it's never going to happen. Or you want to talk to yourself how your new timeline is going to be, and you let this old. So if you feel the pain, you're like, okay, I give you rest because I know that I'm shifting and stepping into something magical. So now all of the parts of you and that no longer resonate with you, or what you want to do, it's time to everything to let go. And you're stepping into a new timeline. But I'm going to say it's going to happen around mid of November. So brace yourself for the month of October. Find yourself an enormous amount of activities that you can do in that sense of reading, meditating, sleeping more. So instead of going to bed, let's say 10 p.m., you're going to shift it to 9 p.m. and you're waking up a little bit earlier to have a time to meditate, to time to be there. If you can and your life allows, have an afternoon naps. If you can and you have the money and all of this, try to put yourself into sound healing or breath work or kundalini activations. I'm going to say that most probably the kundalini activations and anything that has to do with energy, even breath work, I would highly say, are very powerful at this time. So do not, if you can and you have the money, go into that. And so eventually what I want to say that your twins are going through, if you have noticed, here are just, I would say 5 things. There can be more, but these are the things what I have received. Such a things or such a signs that your twin flame is acting, but let's say you don't really talk to one another. Number 1 would be that you would see that they post on social media or somewhere else something about spirituality. Whether it's 11/11, whether they are talking about egos, in a sense of how ego is stopping us, how ego is holding us back from the life we should live, or they've been in a meditation things, something like this. So you will see that they are making some changes. Since when we came to this journey, nothing really has changed, and I can now see that there is something happening. The next thing is that you see that they are either ending their old relationships or they have problems in their relationships, which whether mean that their girlfriend or their boyfriend or something, they're going to break up, or they have some kind of a conflict, or you can see that they removed, let's say, all the pictures and all of these kind of things. I'm not saying you need to go and stalk and see, but these are just showing that they have this awareness that this is not good for me. This is not where I'm supposed to be, and this is what is happening to me. So it's like an enlightenment comes to them. And this can be from your side as well. As you know, you're one, so you can do a similar thing, but I just bring it in of the information I have received. Or you are also seeing that they are more emotional. So if you happen to be, let's say, in touch on social media, or you know them, you see that they are more emotional. Let's say they talk more, or they maybe cry, or they are angry about something and they say this is unfair, this is not too real, or there is more of this like intense energy from their side that you haven't noticed they had it before. They are stepping into a different timeline. Now if you see that they are making changes in their life, let's say they are moving away, I was the one who moved away, for example, or you would see that they are changing their looks. Had long hair, now cutting into the short hair, or they are removing themselves from the social platforms. They don't talk to anybody, you can't even see them. So there's a lot of things that you can see that it's a very odd behavior from them. Can also be that they meet somebody else. So I don't want to say these things in the sense of, but it can be because it's their now lesson to learn. And I really want to pay attention to hear that. Make sure you are more or less in that sense of a twin flame journey. Twin flame journey, the number 1 principle is that you understand it's spiritual. It's a spiritual awakening. You don't own your twin flame. You don't own them to act the way you want them to act. Again, the more you want, the less you get. That's a principle of reality. Because you need to become this. It's not that I want this, I want this, I want this. You know, think about it a little bit like a mother or someone like the children are crying, saying, I want this, I want this, I want this, and eventually say, enough, you get nothing because you haven't done what you're supposed to do. So never I want this and how it's supposed to be. It's more about it. I allow and I become. And I am not in a stuck of the situation where the way I want it, because this is very ego-based. An ego-based world, it's very rare where we're going to receive into that place. It's all about the frequency. It's all about the energy. And that obviously the final sign will be that they will tell you something. They will tell you about the book or a retreat or a thing that they discovered, or they say to you how they really, really feel about you, what they feel, what happened to them. Or they can also say to you, I feel nothing towards you. I don't have the same connection that you're talking about it. I don't know what you're talking about it. And that's okay too. Because now you understand they're not ready. And that's okay. That gives you a liberation of doing something else, going where you have to go. Because otherwise you are stuck in a place of thinking, maybe they are waiting me there. If they tell you, I don't feel it, I don't have it, respect it. It's not a place I want and how it's supposed to be. But you love them always. They are your heart, they are your soul, they are part of you. So I wish you all the best for this solar eclipse today. Libra new moon. So my beautiful Libra souls, thank you for being here. Thank you for bringing out the balance, trying to let go of the old and letting the new to come and getting us into the balance. You're doing a good job for us. And the new moon that's gonna orbit around us a little bit, who brings a new consciousness. I really will tell you, I highly recommend for you to journal all of your channeled thoughts, all of your channeled energies, things that are coming through you on your journal. There is an information that is priceless and it comes through you. Meditate, come for the energy activations. You can have the private session with me, you can have the group session with me or with somebody else. Doesn't have to be me at all. Anybody who resonates with you and you feel they're going to help you. What I have done for myself, I have scheduled once a week a Reiki session, once a week an energy activation. Then I have inner dance once a week. Inner dance is the most intense, and we will meet on the 27th of October for an inner dance on a group session, those who would like to. And on 13th of October, we have another session, group session, hopefully an energetic orgasm. We'll see how it's going to work out. But what I'm trying to tell you is try to schedule. I have also put myself more in the trauma release exercise that's going to go out on a Patreon that you can practice as well at home by yourself. Maybe also gather with some of your friends just to have a session where you could let go. Crying, if you need to cry and if you need to release, you can of course book a session with me as well. Absolutely more than welcome. That's why I'm here, to help you to release. It's a time to release. You're part of this, part of the nature. You're in oneness, and what you're supposed to do right now is to release. So I hope it gave you some kind of a hope and insight of realizing that you're the universe that feels everything that happens in a bigger universe. You're the one who's going to shift your timeline right now. So give yourself a moment to release. And your twin is doing the same thing. And you're getting closer to the 3D union if you are already united in 5D union. Because you are. Because you are in 5D, you have never had separation. It's now your 3D mind that is limiting you. Anyways, let's end up from here today. I want to say thank you for being here. I have just few things to go through in case you want to join some of the things or you need more extra information, Costa Rica retreat is going to happen in February. I highly would like you to tell that if you can, join us today and put your name down today and register today. As with obviously with Cyprus retreat, what happened is that we are booked out. We can't have more people this year. And many of you started to text me right now of telling if I have a space, if I have an opportunity. And I would love to. You know, my biggest dream and timeline shift here right now is that one day I'm hugging all of you and I'm in a real life with you, because I have made so many beautiful friends. And actually, I just wanted to say that this episode is also for many of you who I know for a year or a little bit over a year already, and you know who I'm talking about it. You feel it as my energy goes out to you right now when I say that. I have made amazing friends here, and you're beautiful. Twin flames are absolutely divine. Real twin flames, even though you go through pain, you go through the things that you don't believe. I just hope that one day I'm hugging all of you, I'm having sessions with all of you, I get to know you even in 3D, because that will be a gift. So let that be my timeline shift at one point. But I'm very happy that the second Cyprus retreat is now happening. We are sold out, so I just want to say the same thing about Costa Rica, that if you really would like to come for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to Costa Rica, we have a payment plans, we have all the options, but please sign up earlier because I really have this. But it breaks my heart when some of you who is so sweet, and I've really been dreaming of meeting you, and I have to say I'm really sorry this year is not happening because we are booked out. So just to say that I will be flying across the world to Costa Rica, so if you can, come and join us. If not, that's okay too. It's not to push you, I don't mean that. It just, as the places fill up very quickly, I think we have 4 places available. So, and then for the Patreon, those who would like to support this channel, those who would like to have the meditations, group sessions, more information, it's all on Patreon. So it's $5.99, I believe, or something like this. Maybe it has changed a little bit. And you have all the access to twice a month the group sessions, all of these things. So you're more than welcome to. And if you find this content obviously useful, because if you support, I have more time to focus on this, channeling all of this. At the end of the day, those who really need to find some peace, to release, to feel like I need to stop this madness right now, then you can book a session with me as well. twinflameawakeningjourney.com. We are going to have the 100th episode in the next one, and there is going to be a giveaway of something. So I just want to say that make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you have your notification on for Sunday, as the first ones who are listening, who are supporting, will have a chance to get be part of it. I just want to say an enormous thank you for being here. I know it's hard, but you are beautiful, and you are magnetic, and you are ready to shift the timeline. I'm sorry that sometimes it just makes us so uncomfortable. Lots of love and light.
I'm sleeping just fine without you. Didn't know I could. Something about me feels strange. Something is just not the same. I haven't been thinking about you, even when I should. All the lies that you told, I've forgiven. All the fights and whose fault I forgot. I've done all in my power to heal them, all of my scars. I'm getting good at letting go. I'm not there yet, but I know ain't no hope in holding on when I'm high. to a love to know. Oh, somebody told me get lost. Somebody gave a heads up, but I just couldn't believe it. Little did I know, all the lies they told I've forgiven, all the fights and whose fault I forgot. I've done all in my power to heal them, all of my scars. I'm getting good at letting go. I'm not there yet, but I know ain't no hope in holding on when I'm happier alone. I'm getting good at letting go. Ooh, 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 ooh. All the lies they told I've forgiven, all the fights and whose fault I forgot.